This happened to me and my friend Kane in June last year, hiking in a section of the Wicklow Mountains. I've done bits of it before, day hikes, nothing extreme, but this was the first time we decided to do it over 2 days. We stayed in a hostel so we could do a longer stretch. For context, I'm not really new to the outdoors. I'm from Dublin, but I grew up doing the usual school trips and the scouts on the weekends. I respect the hills. I'm not the type to wander off a trail in a storm and then act surprised when it goes wrong. We set off from the car park around lunchtime. The weather was class, broken cloud, good visibility, and that cool breeze you get that makes walking up there quite easy. There were a few other hikers about, lots of Americans with big cameras, the odd trail runner, and a few locals. The first few hours were grand. We were just chatting nonsense, taking the piss out of each other, and stopping for photos. There's a bit where the forest opens out, and you get this ridiculous view over Loch Tay, the Guinness Lake, and for a second, the whole place looked unreal, almost like a postcard. If I'm honest, that's the last moment I remember feeling completely relaxed. A couple hours later, the weather turned. It wasn't a dramatic storm or anything. There was no thunder or hail. It was just that classic Wicklow shift, where the cloud drops down out of nowhere, and suddenly the world shrinks to the space inside your hood. One minute you can see for miles, the next you can barely see the next trail marker. We'd just crossed an open, boggy section with those wooden sleepers laid down, and we were heading onto a more exposed bit of the ridge. The fog was rolling in fast and thicker than I'd seen in a while. We'll be grand. Trail's clear, and I've got the GPS on my phone, Kane said. I wasn't worried about getting lost. Not then. The first weird thing was the echo. We were walking single file along a stony track, Kane in front. I could see his rucksack, his boots, and the puff of his breath in the cold air. At some point, I realised I could hear more than just our footsteps. You get used to the rhythm of your walking. 2 sets of boots, crunch, crunch, crunch. You almost tuned out. But here, there was this subtle third beat underneath, like a half step. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I checked over my shoulder, expecting to see another hiker catching up behind us. But there was nothing in the fog, just a blank wall of white, maybe 10 metres back. Can you hear that? What? Footsteps? Behind us? He stopped. I stopped. The hill went dead quiet. The only sound was the wind moving over the heather, and our own breathing. Probably just an echo, or a sheep. Come on. We started walking again. I followed, but I was still listening. For a few minutes, it was normal, just us, boots on the stone. Then slowly, the pattern crept back in. It was too regular just to be random, too light to be an echo of us. It sounded like someone walking just a couple of paces behind me, but never quite close enough to see through the fog. This time, I didn't say anything. I just kept glancing back over my shoulder, telling myself that at any second, some old boy in a bright jacket was going to appear, and I'd feel stupid. Nobody appeared. Instead, the feeling of being followed ramped up so fast it made my skin crawl. We had a slight uphill and slowed down. The footsteps seemed to slow with us. When we sped up, they sped up too. At one point, I deliberately stopped dead in my tracks without warning. The crunching behind me continued for one step more. Just one. Then silence. My heart now hammering against my ribs. I told myself it was a delayed echo, or just my brain playing tricks on me. But I quickened my pace until I was right on Kane's heels. "You're right close. You alright?" "Yeah," I lied. "Just cold." We walked on like that for an hour 20 minutes, the fog thickening around us, flattening the world into a grey tunnel. The trail markers appeared out of it, one by one, wet wooden posts with yellow little men walking their forever walk. I just started to convince myself I'd imagined everything. when the second weird thing happened. We came to a fork, except there shouldn't have been a fork. The Wicklow Way is well marked, and this section, according to both map and GPS, was a straightforward stretch before the next junction. But up ahead, the track split, one veering slightly left and the other slightly right. Both looked equally used, no marker in sight. Left? Kane said. He pulled out his phone, checked the map, turned in a slow circle, swearing under his breath as the fog swallowed everything behind. According to this, we're on the path, he said. Single line, no fork. Zoom in. So I zoomed in. We stood there, two grown men, turning our phones at different angles, like the pixels were going to rearrange themselves and do something reassuring. They didn't. Behind us, for the first time in a while, I couldn't hear the footsteps. The silence feeling wrong now. We can't just pick one and hope. We should backtrack a bit, find the last marker. And if we can't see it, well, that was a fair point. Visibility was down to maybe 8-10 metres. Any further than that, and we just faded into a blankness. Let's try left. We'll go slow. If it starts to go way off where it should be, we'll just come back. It's grand. I wanted to argue, but I also didn't want to stand there any longer than we had to. The hair on my arms was up under my jacket. I felt exposed, like someone was watching us from just beyond the fog curtain. We went left. The path underfoot stayed stony and firm. No sudden bog, no sign we were dramatically off route. But after 5 minutes, the GPS dot on Kane's phone started to drift away from the line of the trail. Just a little bit, then a little bit more. We're going the wrong way. Kane stopped. It might just be the GPS being shit. Sure, we're quite high up. The corridors of fog stretched ahead and behind. No features, no trees, no big rocks, nothing dangerous, just endless grey. We should go back to the fork. Let's try the other way. Kane sighed. Fine. Let's go back. We turned around. The path behind us wasn't the same path. It looked like a track, sure, stones underfoot, a faint two-rod impression, like 4x4s once used it. But the gentle curve we'd followed uphill a few minutes ago was gone. The ground now sloped slightly down to the left and to the horizon. What little we could see of it seemed to tilt. We didn't walk down any slope. It was flat. It's just the fog playing tricks. He sounded a bit less sure of himself now, but we walked anyway, trying to retrace our steps, even though the terrain felt wrong. The feeling of being followed crept back in within 30 seconds. If it was behind us, that meant whatever it was had gone left with us, and then turned around at the same time we did. My mouth went dry. I could feel sweat under the layers, despite the cold. Do you hear that? Kane did answer. Kane? I turned my head. He was gone. I stopped dead. 1 second he'd been there, 2 metres ahead of me. The next, nothing but grey. Stop messing. Seriously? I was just greeted with silence. I took a shaky step forward. Kane! My shout was swallowed by the fog, like I was yelling under a pillow. I couldn't even hear my own echo now. I spun slowly in a circle, heart pounding, scanning the whiteness for any hint of a figure, a colour, movement, anything. The footsteps were close now, not behind, not ahead, all around, like something circling, just beyond what I could see. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen. Eventually, I did the only thing I could think of. I took my phone out, opened maps, turned on the GPS, and started walking in the direction of the hostel. If he's messing, he'll see me moving and stop. I told myself, if he's ahead, sure I'll only catch up. The logical part of my brain was screaming that I should stay, call the mountain rescue, and wait, but some deeper animal part overrode it, insisting I could not stay in that one spot for another second. I walked, the footsteps walking with me. I tried to ignore them, tried to focus on the tiny blue dot creeping along the digital line. At one point, they were so close, I could swear I felt a faint vibration through the stones, as if something stepped where I had just stepped. I didn't look back. I didn't call Cian again. It was like my brain had accepted that calling him wouldn't help. After what felt like an hour, but was probably 20 minutes, the fog had now thinned. Just a little at first, shapes of scrub and heather emerging from the white. Then suddenly, it lifted in a way that was almost violent. One second I was in a void, and next I was on a perfectly normal stretch of the Wicklow Way, with clear visibility to the next ridge. There were people ahead, 3 day hikers in bright jackets walking towards me, chatting. One of them raised a hand in that polite, I'll walk her way. Grand day, isn't it? He called. My voice cracked when I tried to answer. Have you seen my friend? Tall lad, blue jacket, maybe 5 or 10 minutes ahead? The man frowned. No, you're the first person we've seen up here. All day, actually. They passed me, their footsteps solid and real on the path. For the first time in ages, there was no third beat. Just them, then me. I made it all the way to the hostel, and an hour later, in a state I can only describe as not fully present, I walked in, ready to tell someone, ready to ask for help, rehearsing how I was going to explain losing my friend in a fog 40 minutes from civilization. Cian was sitting at a table by the fire, half pint in front of him, scrolling his phone. He looked up, saw my face, and went pale. Where the fuck were you? I've been here ages. I lost you in the fog back there. My legs nearly gave out. I sat down hard in the chair opposite him. I lost you, I said. You vanished. I shouted and you were gone. We argued, both talking over each other, trying to piece our timelines together. According to his watch, he'd arrived at the hostel half an hour before me. According to mine, we'd only been separated about 40 minutes total. Neither of us remembered turning off the trail in any dramatic way. Neither remembered any obvious fork that would explain the different directions. Did you hear footsteps? I asked him eventually. He stared into his pint for a second. Yeah, but I thought it was you. Right up until I realised it wasn't. What do you mean? There was a bit where I didn't want to turn around, he said. I could hear it behind me, matching my pace. When I finally did look back, there was just fog, but I swear for a second, it felt like something was waiting for me to look back. We didn't finish our pints. We didn't even do the second day. I still hike, I still go up to the hills, but since that day, I can't relax in the fog. If it starts to drop in, I get off the ridge as fast as I can, and sometimes, when the cloud closes around me, I can hear the same pattern on the stones, just under my own footsteps, like something else is up there, walking, just out of sight, waiting for you to take the wrong turn. Even marked trails and popular routes can feel wrong in the fog.